Hello, this is Dr. Wendy Rowley of the Wonder of Human Design YouTube channel in the new series. Oh, I just go blank. Sorry, I've been taping a lot all at once, and I don't know why I can't remember this. How to assist in the creation of peace on Earth. How to assist in the creation of peace on Earth. There must be a little bit of a mind diddle going on here. Okay, let's see, we've done our 3 activations. We have an alignment at the end. We have 4 more of these. And let's see what comes in this one. Probably information, I assume. Oh, good day to you, dearest beings of light. It is Allegheny of Cosmic Service, a Palladian Mother of Sound. Peace be with you, peace be with you, and peace be with you. All right, we did our final activation. We had some information about the checks and balances of creating on the system and how does it all work. And we learned that the Araki, the national spirits or the national archangels, have input into the system as well as the divine intelligence of the creator on when inventions and solutions are released and when things change and we had started in that video to speak about the beauties of the land. And I hope you picked up on the fact that there are beauties in every land and in every culture, and different gifts that every culture and every nation has, and different wisdoms and different earth electromagnetic fields that create different things that go on in different areas of the world. The idea of sacred spaces and places where there's, some people call them portals of energy, but where it's easier to do energy work, or people actually go to these sacred places because they can get, well, as you're learning in these, if you're not familiar with these ideas in this series, you're learning that they can get activations and alignments and healing for evolution. And these places do exist, and they have forever. This one's remembering that in ancient Turkey, there was, or in ancient Middle East, there was a pathway, even prior to the Greek and Roman Empire, that went up along those coasts, and there were temples all along there where people did communion, and the spiritual nature of people back then was completely different. Their pineal creation, pineal communication system, which you've heard me talking about, was completely different. And so that these concepts are ancient, and these ideas of beauties of the land are also ancient. So when you travel, it's always a good idea to tune in to the beauty of the land and the people, and realize that you're in a new place where there's new energy, new gifts, and new things to learn, and go open like a book, like you're reading a new book. Open in your ideas, and open in your interpretations, and open to the fact that people do things differently all around the world, and see things differently, and have a slightly different level of consciousness. So in this idea that there are these beauties of the land, and there's these ideas that there are sacred places where you can get activations and alignments, and the veil maybe is thinner there, or there's something put there by the Creator to allow that to happen. There's also the idea that these shift and change through evolution. And there's the idea, as we showed this one a long time ago, that sometimes your earth events, such as volcanoes, earthquakes, tidal waves, or tsunamis, which don't have to be destructive, they can be made to be a little less destructive through consciousness as you evolve, have an aspect where they clear or change energy. And we're going to give an example. We showed this one up on a mountaintop. We said we were going to clear her collective consciousness remembrance of natural disasters, because hers was very active. And she had also had her first teacher who had one that was very active, as well as Edgar Cayce talked a lot about earth changes. So we figured this was a good start for her. We asked her to see it as a circle, and she had already learned some of these concepts and was familiar with them in her spiritual school. She was partway working through that. The idea of creating pictures with your 6th chakra and seeing them and watching and pulling your energy off, give it a hello and watch it. And we said, put up these natural disasters like a circle, and at the top we're going to show you Glastonbury. So just watch and just imagine you're intending looking at Glastonbury, England, as an example. And we cleared and cleared, and she saw pictures and different areas and different cultures. But when we said to her, watch, and that circle ring sort of moved to the top, cooperation between our clairvoyance and hers, because higher creational beings can help show pictures, as well as there are some false foolers who show pictures. But theirs are static. They're unable to show things. They're a flat picture. And this one has learned that. But anyway, so those other beings that can show pictures of a benevolence type, like we are, we can indicate to her a place to watch where her soul is bringing in the pictures that she is seeing. So we said, you're almost there, watch. And she saw a great cataclysm go on in that part of the world, very, very ancient old one, and the land changed. And what was a small portal with light coming out, it turned it into a very wide portal with very big light. And a lot of healers and spiritual people know that Glastonbury, England, is a very juicy point there. And so the concept of what we're trying to bring forward is not all Earth events are scary. Not all Earth events are negative. Not all Earth events are based in destruction. Sometimes they are based in bringing forward something more benevolent. Sometimes they are based in bringing something forward greater in the spiritual nature of that land. And sometimes they are brought forward to rid old energy in that land. And that happens quite often. Now, people are quite afraid right now on the earth because there's been a lot of storms and a lot of earth events and a lot of things going on. And we want to tell you that the loss of life is indeed very, very sad. But we want to bridge an idea that maybe the souls there knew that was coming and they decided that was their time. And we don't mean to upset anybody. We don't mean to be controversial. We don't mean to bring up fear. That's not how we operate. But we're trying to paint a picture that there's a larger coordination in those higher self, soul group spirit bodies that you all create in at the group level than you can imagine. So we've said to this one, and this one has seen this twice, of groups of souls leaving the planet. She saw it in Glastonbury, and she also saw it in Machu Picchu. When she saw the Earth event that activated Machu Picchu about 14,000 years ago. And sometimes that's the way that souls leave the Earth. And they go up to a higher creational level to do higher work because they have evolved enough. So it's an interesting thought, and many spiritual books talk about these things. And we want to bring it up here because you're on a time in the earth where your sun is very active, and scientists have started to figure out that the sun's electromagnetic radiations and spikes into the earth can create weather anomalies and get the weather a little more active. And you have been seeing that. And it has been known that the sun has entered an 11-year solar cycle increase, is how the best they've come up with this description now. And we want to tell you that your sun is going to do some more active things in the coming next 3 years, and to not be afraid. It's not a destructive thing. It's part of the great shift you're in. And we're going to describe it a little more intensely for scientists. Scientists years ago saw a cloudy bank in the solar system universal structure ahead of where the Earth was heading. And they predicted that that the Earth would move in and through that band at a certain period of time. And on the web now, you can actually read that scientists believe we are in that band. Now, other channelers have brought in that there are setups within the solar systems and universe that when a planet hits it, if they have made the right steps for evolution, other things go into alignment. And that's what your gamma ray band is. It's a particular set of energies set up in the universe, in your solar system, so that when your planet, which we have mentioned in this series, is the only enlightened or going on to enlightenment planet in your solar system, but not in your universe. A solar system is smaller within universes, and there's more solar systems within that universe. For those who don't quite see that picture or don't know enough about that science space reality of definitions. So your gamma ray belt has some things in it, and you are in it. And one of the things it does is it creates more magnetic eruptions from the sun that come to your planet for particular reasons. And it does cause a little more Earth weather upset. And that's what goes along with it. But we can tell you the amount of gamma ray that you will take in, if that's the correct word. This one's sort of going, I hope that's the right science word, and it is. The amount, or you can say solar radiation, solar wind, solar waves. The amount you're going to be taking in is not going to be equal to the amount of Earth change that you can expect. So do not see a correlation between those two. And we thought that that should be said. The other thing we would like you to know, and this one's totally surprised because she did not know we would be going into this avenue in this series. The other thing so we're going to describe some things that are actually in your gamma ray belt that you are moving through. One are increased solar eruptions, which come to Earth in a planned and sequenced way, believe it or not, which cause other things on the Earth to happen. You see them as weather changes, but they do three other things. They structure your electromagnetic grid to change time and space and reality. And this was discovered by scientists who studied the rift in the plates of, I believe it was 2012, the Great Tsunami earthquake that happened off of Thailand that affected a lot of the Pacific Rim. And that was studied, and they decided in that study that our electromagnetic grid on Earth, or your electromagnetic grid, or our electromagnetic grid, because we're meshed in the planet too, as we said in the last video, postures your time and space and dimension, and it does. So part of what these solar radiations are doing is not necessarily all through Earth events like that Thailand tsunami and those Pacific Rim events that happened when that two plates of the Earth shifted to such a degree that there was a big increase on one plate of several feet. But they do it anyway at other levels of multidimensional creation of the Earth planetary system. And so your time, space, and dimensional reality is indeed shifting. The other thing that the gamma ray belt has within it is that the solar wind becomes wider. And this will frighten a lot of people, but it's part of the plan because it goes beyond your Earth and affects other planets within your solar system. And that's intentional. And that's all we're going to say about that. The other thing you're going to see while you're in this gamma ray belt is that the solar winds are going to change. They will actually be able to measure that there is something different in the solar winds in the way of the electromagnetic spectrum that wasn't there before, because this is just starting to come in. And they have enough scientific equipment to read the various degrees of some of the solar wind now that they're going to start to pick up something else within the solar wind and have to figure it out. Well, from our perspective, on our side of the veil, that would be directives from the central spiritual sun through the solar wind to you, to your spiritual anatomy of your earth. And that's what we have to say about that. So we just wanted people to know that, who find their way to this, the scientists that find their way to this, the people that find their way to this, that these things are part of the gamma ray belt. They're in there. This one's wondering if we started into a thought and drifted off and didn't finish what we were going to say. No, we didn't. Okay, we just want her to know that. Because she thought we were going to say what was going on in the solar magnetic grid on Earth that changed because of the solar winds. But no, we were talking about the solar wind. Okay, just for everyone else, excuse her. Okay, so that's what we wanted you to know regarding that aspect. The other thing that happens while you're in the gamma ray belt is that there is a uptick of consciousness. There's an uptick of consciousness to a higher level. And it happens quite fast because you're in the gamma ray belt, or that cloudy bank that you are spinning through now in space. And that is intentional to help you through the great shift, because you entered the gamma ray belt because you did go through the great shift and decided to stay, as far out as that sounds. So that is another thing that is there. An upgrade of consciousness happening very quickly. The third thing that happens while you're in the gamma ray belt is that there is a huge uptick of inventions, believe it or not. Now, you're only going through the gamma ray belt, they have estimated, for a certain period of time. And we don't know their projections, but from our side of the veil projection is it looks like, we said in the last video, we have about a 300-year window to look through this one's soul to give you information. We do have our Akashic records here, so we are aware of who we are, unlike other beings on the other side of the veil. Because you need your Akash to have your spiritual information, to have a history, to know who you are. So that's why we channel a little differently than other beings coming through other people. We have our Akash here in your planetary system. That's through the time capsules. And so the other thing that does change is, okay, let her just observe that for a sec. Consciousness, solar winds, big consciousness upgrade. And now, let her get out of the way. We are also, time space is changing, consciousness is changing. There will be some Earth events, they won't be so bad. The sun will get wider, la 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 la. So the magnetic stream coming off the sun will get wider to hit more of the planets. That's purposeful. And just give her another moment. Okay, there she goes. So the other thing, give us a moment to realign too. So the other thing coming in is that there is, besides the upgrade of consciousness, there are new inventions coming in. And this is because even though the gamma ray belt is a small period of evolution, the connections that come in to be able to get the inventions off of what we said in previous parts of this series, the time capsules and the higher Akashic galactic wisdom and eventually the enlightened highway real-time information of the galactic family, enlightenment family, things we've talked about. Those connections are made during the gamma ray belt by beings at the periphery in the noosphere. And we've never talked about that. That's why it's so busy up there, because they've got a lot they're doing while you're going through the gamma ray belt. And no one's really thought or talked about that. So that is how those things are going to start percolating in, because they made these connections while you're in the gamma ray belt. So they will go on for hundreds of years after you're out of the gamma ray belt, but they begin while you're in the gamma ray belt. So you have an upgrade of consciousness, you have an upgrade of information available, and you have, because of the solar radiation increase and of some Earth events, you have new portals opening. So, this one's reflecting back to a prophecy of the children of Fatima about Galabalbala, Spain, and a big portal opening there, and other spiritual people bringing in information there. And that's exactly what that is in reference to, what we just told you. So anyway, let her have her little aha. Ooh, okay. And what we would like to tell you as far as application is that there is an ability to be able to align to these new inventions that'll become in 2026. And it'll come through the Great Global Healing Party during that time, should you be interested in that and you're someone who would like to participate in juicy work. We have said it's about healing the creational level between men and women, and also the universal life and divine feminine, and that it's less dense than the healings you have done earlier. It's the final year of the healing phase, and 2027 is another great global healing party year with evolutionary upgrades. But during those great global healing parties, there will be upgrades given for accessing more of this galactic wisdom, time capsules, and other information because of the healing that you will be doing in the creational levels. So you can see our work is very spirally and related. We spoke about these abilities in the peace path and how these things come in. We spoke about the Lion's Gate and some things you can find in those videos that are already posted on YouTube. And we're now saying there's another phase for this higher information at the creational level of soul that can be given during 2026. And they will be in all 5 of the great global healing parties of that aspect. Not to be a salesman, but this is our camp and this is how we work. So we wanted you to know that. And so that's what we wanted to say this day, to give you some broader, bigger pictures of the higher creational levels and those working there, and that all the things going on that you see from the earth perspective are not particularly scary. They're part of the divine intelligence of the creative plan for where you are in your evolution now. So, peace be with you. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu.